a day off from school and the office. The theme of this first alert forecast is going to be looks are deceiving, because this view of Kewohee, formerly Klingman's Dome, man, is it spectacular. Look at that. It's like out of a brochure for the Smokies. Thing is, it's sub-zero, and a lot of us, even at 9:40, are still dealing with sub-zero wind chills. Actual temperatures across the region will stay below freezing for 90 straight hours. If you look at the charts, and you know I love a number and a stat, this is typically like the 4-day coldest stretch of the entire year. In fact, 40 years ago today, do you remember where you were? If it was anywhere close to here, it was likely a record cold day. 18 below zero on this day in 1945. So the first alert continues until we can get above freezing, not just for like 30 minutes or so, but for a long period. And so we're checking on the 3 Ps. Again, we're going to go beyond the obvious here, besides, checking on your pets, getting them fresh water, clean bedding, dry bedding. Of course, I want you to have a safe and reliable method of heating. Too often on the news, we have to report some really sad stories about space heater fires, right? So I just got a new, very inexpensive space heater to help out in the bathroom, which gets cold. And if it tips over, it automatically turns itself off. Also, Knoxville fire folks, if you live in the city limits, will come and check your smoke detector too. So really important on days like this, with frigid temperatures ahead. From late Sunday through early Thursday, that could be up to 90 straight hours below freezing. While it's sunny at Kewohee and it's sunny in Knoxville, the one spot where it's not sunny is Gatlinburg. In Chalet Village, in the Glades community, above, say 2,000 feet outside of town, above the spur, we've got temperatures that are well below freezing and snow that continues to fly. So some pretty heavy stuff there. Meanwhile, the sunshine is up at Newfound Gap, minus 2.6 Fahrenheit, the actual temperature. And you can tell by the drifts right there that not a lot of people are really getting up in the mountains. So it doesn't really affect a lot of folks. Current temperatures of 12 in Sevierville, 4 Jamestown, 3 in Oneida, with the wind chill even colder. So here's what it feels like in Knoxville, 2 above. This is exactly what we forecasted. I just didn't want it to come true. Kansas City, home of the Chiefs, heading to the AFC title game, 5 below. Even Denver and Billings, the Intermountain West, this whole thing is funneled down. And my buddy Andy, he's in the Air Force. He's currently based in Grand Forks, North Dakota, out on the tarmac. Wind chill nearby in Fargo, 47 below. I've been in weather that cold, 43 below. It's not fun. Again, this is from the It Could Be Worse file. Back at home, it's not warm, but we're not close to the record. It's just about the prolonged nature of it. Again, going beyond the obvious of that, not very close to records, and you seeing that the city and other crews are applying sand for grip as opposed to salt, because it may get so cold that regular salt loses its effectiveness with the snow. And here it is in Old North Knox, about a dusting. Chalet Village near Ober, 4.5 inches of fresh snow. Wares Valley, my good friend Mel and her husband Rick, they had 3 inches as of yesterday, but then somebody chimed in on Heather's page and said they had 5 inches in Wares Valley. That's probably way up in closer to the mountaintops. Oak Ridge, dusting. Union Claiborne line, nothing at all. So this played out according to what we expected. This is the last 12 hours, mostly west of I-75. Not a lot of new stuff has fallen, or at least we haven't got reports. And Sneedville had around 2 to 3 earlier. Olivia Calfee was talking about slippery spots, and a lot of them today are going to be on back roads, bridges, and overpasses. You remember that sign that they would always test you on in driver's ed? I do. I always had like the weirdest wording. Bridge ices before road, and that is what we're tracking. So how does that actually happen? If you notice, a lot of the bridges around Knoxville will literally look frosty. That's because like if the temperature was 34 on the ground, which it's not, it's 14 right now, then it's colder because of that increased surface area on bridges and overpasses. Again, taking you beyond the obvious. And so they can get more slippery. Also getting reports of slippery conditions, which is always the case, it seems like, around Gatlinburg and especially English Mountain. Probably McLeod Mountain and Duff, and then up in Rockwood, I imagine that's pretty slippery. And places where it snowed. I'll just tell you my personal experience on the roads this morning. Just when, as soon as I took off in the car, all the flurries just blew right off, right? Really, really kind of puffy stuff. But through at least Thursday, patchy ice. And one thing that did surprise me, we had rainfall, gosh, all day Saturday, and it just wasn't enough to melt the piles of snow that people had kind of plowed, big piles. So it's feasible that through early next week, there could still be snow from 2+ weeks ago in the valley, which is extremely uncommon. What is common is that back roads and bridges are going to be slippery. What that means for the schools, I can't say. I don't really know how many days a lot of these school districts have. Our digital team has been working to find that out. But I would say be really careful. There's a billion different hills in East Tennessee and southeastern Kentucky. Even me, I live on like a 5-degree grade. Really not that steep. But it's pretty slippery out there, even on those small of hills. So grassy areas are still snowy in a lot of places, certainly not in West Knoxville. Back roads are going to be snow covered and then icy. Although I guess the good thing here is that it's not going to melt, and so it's not going to refreeze necessarily. Where treated, you could have a couple of wet spots. But look at this month so far. Blue is colder than average days. And last Thursday, Friday, it was kind of mild, I guess, but nothing really mild. And it's going to stay cold all the way through this week and likely well into next week. So it's, again, likely that there could be 2 above average days the whole month and 1 normal day. And look at the temperature trend. That's the little spike right there, like a little top of the roller coaster, and then it's down, down, down until we get to at least maybe the 29th. It's trying to say 2 degrees above average. So for now, we are in that first alert mode, but it's strictly for the cold. There's no big active weather here, but there is active weather elsewhere. New Orleans could have very heightened snow impacts, and even the northern parts of Florida, where you might go to the beach, Destin, St. Augustine, Panama City, they could even be in for ice. Myrtle Beach could have a good snow, and so we'll be watching that. And soon, my set of the week, all 50 states will soon have snow in them at one part or another, and that certainly includes here in East Tennessee and southeastern Kentucky as we continue to track the deep freeze. All right, I'm meteorologist Ben Cathy. You're going to hop off of Facebook Live. We've got you covered with live events. But just a note that our regularly scheduled noon program is delayed with Harry Sullivan and Jacob Durham until at least 1 o'clock because of inauguration in D.C. And one final note, they've moved inauguration indoors because of the cold, the same air mass that has kind of left East Tennessee in the deep freeze will start to slowly climb out once we get later into Thursday. But boy, that's quite a long ways away. Hope you have a great and safe holiday, and stay warm, folks.